Now 34 years in prison, and not even for a tweet, but for a retweet. Salma al-Shehab, a Saudi student at Leeds University who had returned home to the kingdom just for a holiday, has been sentenced for having a Twitter account and for following and retweeting dissidents and activists. Now it joins a string of similar verdicts in spirit in the Gulf superpower. And joining us now, I-24 News Middle East correspondent Ariel Osseron. So Ariel, we're not talking about a prominent social media entity, not even about a political activist, but rather the epitome, if you will, of a private citizen. You know, she's a dentist, right? She's a student, a PhD candidate, a mother of 2 young kids. Why is that such a great national such a great risk or threat for Saudi national security?
Yeah, according to the court filings on Shehab's case, they're accusing her of destabilizing civil and national security just by following specific Twitter accounts and retweeting tweets. As you described it, by all accounts, this 34-year-old dental hygienist, she was not a leading or especially vocal Saudi activist. The 34-year-old student only had 2,500 followers on Twitter. I mean, that's more than some have, but it's not considered a social media. It's not a
sphere of influence of any sort.
Not a key influencer. And yet, according to these same court records, these allegations that were brought to a special terror court accuse her of undermining Saudi security. Now, I think it's important to note that Shehab was reported to Saudi authorities through a crime reporting app in Saudi Arabia called Kulna Amen, or We Are All Security. This is an app that works on both Android and Apple devices, where regular citizens can pretty much tip off authorities on what they deem as dangerous or criminal activity. Now, the 34-year verdict is unprecedented against any political activist in Saudi Arabia, and that's what's brought this case to prominence. Human rights organizations have already slammed what they call this draconian verdict, saying that it's more evidence to Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's relentless crackdown on dissent. And digital rights activists have even gone further, calling this a new phase of digital authoritarianism.
So definitely part of a trend, not a sole incident here whatsoever, which brings me to ask, you know, these are concerns that were raised before, during, and after U.S. President Joe Biden's visit in the kingdom short weeks ago. Any chance that we're going to hear something from Washington on that?
Well, from Washington officials, we haven't heard anything yet, but the Washington Post newspaper has already, in an op-ed, slammed President Biden for what they say he received assurances of a changed human rights policy in the Saudi kingdom. This, of course, according to this op-ed, shows that these promises are futile and have really no substance. And this comes, you know, even Biden's trip to Saudi Arabia was criticized amid the poor human rights record of Saudi Arabia. Just look at what has been done to previous dissidents. According to the CIA, Crown Prince MBS himself ordered the killing of the Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi in Istanbul in 2018. Now, 34 years in prison is not being dismembered in a foreign embassy, but this unprecedented verdict is causing a lot of anger among rights organizations and different Saudi groups.